In this episode of The Excursion, I'll be challenged with fishing, fun cycling, swamp life, and ranch life adventures along Georgia's beautiful coast. And if I succeed, I'll enjoy an evening full of southern coastal cuisine at the King and Prince Resort's beachside restaurant known as Echo. But if I fail, it's the crew that gets this St. Simon's Island feast fit for a king, or even a prince. Let's get started. Georgia's coast is a treasure. This marsh-filled crescent along America's southeastern shoreline boasts miles of protected marshland for wading birds and numerous varieties of fish, making every bit of this Georgia coast a gift from Mother Nature. And about 60 miles inland, the awesomeness of South Georgia continues. Here lies 402,000 protected acres that make up a mysterious, unique, and unrivaled ecological wonder, the world's largest blackwater swamp, the Okefenokee.
The refuge here is 650 square miles. Rhode Island is only 1,000 square miles. So Rhode Island, the whole state, is only a little bit bigger than this refuge. Whenever the refuge was established and the wilderness within the refuge was established, Congress actually mandated that we maintain 120 miles of water trails. You can't see what's underneath the water, and so it kind of really lends just this eerie, mystical aspect to your experience when you come out to the refuge.
Going back to the 1850s, people have lived off this land, farming, harvesting sugarcane, and raising barnyard animals. In fact, the Okefenokee Wildlife Refuge still maintains and operates a site known as the Cheshire Island Homestead, where visitors can catch a glimpse of how swamp life really was. In fact, some of the Cheshire family descendants still help preserve this special property and have a wealth of stories and traditions to share with visitors about their experience growing up in this amazing world away from the rest.
I am a fifth generation Cheshire. My mother was Bernice Cheshire, and she was born on Billytotten, which is on the west side of the swamp. All this that you see in trees, all that used to be field area. Here, it was more self-sufficiency.
Yeah. I guess your family has been in this area for a while.
For 100 years.
100 years.
Cheshires lived here on the island.
It's got to be special for people to come see what your ancestors experienced and how they lived. And now it's something people can learn about history and the way of life that people had in this area. So from the homestead to the Uplands Boardwalk right around the corner, a 1.5-mile round-trip stroll through a nature-filled strip of this amazing refuge. I also found out that there was great fishing in the area. So why not take on a little Okefenokee excursion challenge and catch a fish in this gator-filled swamp with my fly-rotted poppers? There we go. Living off the land here at the refuge. And once I got this second guy hooked, oh yeah, oh goodness. Yes, sir. A pretty blackwater bluegill special. Oh, yes. This gator decided to see what all the splashing was about. She's just curious about what's going on. Not curious in me, curious about the splashing. Oh, look at that beautiful color right there, right out of the blackwater swamp. This curious addition to my fishing adventure prompted me to swiftly move on to our next leg of the excursion right next door, where I met Chip Campbell of Okefenokee Adventures, a man who has been exploring this amazing region since he was a 12-year-old Boy Scout. We're on the interpretive boat tour, which is a great way to see a lot of stuff and learn all about it.
Our bread and butter is our 90-minute tour, but we also offer more in-depth experiences, a half-a-day tour, a 4-hour tour. We have canoe rentals, kayak rentals available for people that self-guide to go out and explore on their own. You're not going to get lost. We have maps and there's trails that you follow, and as long as you stay on the trails, you're good to go.
What a treasure here in Southeast Georgia. A swamp humans actually tried to destroy and drain in the 1890s is now appreciated and admired all around the world. And I can see why. Wildlife at every turn. And every batch of trees and plant life seemed to be a little different from the norm. Now let's set the record straight.
Yes.
Okefenokee.
What does it mean?
Yeah.
The traditional interpretation is that it means trembling earth. Okefenokee's land of the trembling earth. You'll hear that.
Yeah.
You'll hear that in every Georgia history class, you know, in the state, I'm sure. The Muskogean scholars have been saying they don't really think it means that. The consensus translation is they think it may mean bubbling water.
Which makes sense.
Which makes sense. The methane gases produce these bubbles.
Okefenokee, be it the land of trembling earth or, more fittingly, bubbling water, is a slice of nature I could explore and enjoy for years. But for now, on to the next leg of the excursion. From the Okefenokee Swamp east to Townsend, Georgia, home to the one and only Georgia Buffalo Ranch, a part of the country that these bison once called home. Amanda, the Georgia Buffalo Ranch, that bison lived here a long time ago.
Yeah, in the early 1800s, there were over 60 million bison just roaming the continent. One of the original colonists, Francis Moore, he wrote in his journal in 1744 stating how present-day Darien was one of the major hunting grounds for bison. We have a lot of tours that we do here. We've had a Boy Scout group come out one time and actually camp out here and spend the night, which was really exciting.
Oh, it's like they're on the frontier.
Exactly, yeah.
This is a ranch. The bison are for product, but you also have a big breeder here. Tell me about that guy.
Our big breeder, he is number 5. He's about 2,000 pounds right now, and he is very dominant, and one of the challenges that you can do is to try and feed him, so that we have little mineral treats that you can see if he'll eat out your hand. Okay,
and you have a plan for this because bison can jump and bison are larger than me. How do we get around this?
Well, we have our swamp buggies. The bottom of the buggy is at 6 feet. Since bison do jump 6 feet high at a standstill, we want to make sure that we're all safe.
They're not like jackrabbits.
Yeah, no. We'll also take you out on a tour, and that's another challenge you can do is try and stay clean on the buggy.
Stay clean. So it's not just a buggy, it's a mud buggy because I see a lot of mud in here. So I got to stay clean.
It's easier if you climb up on the front.
Oh, climb up in the front. Got it.
Blast off.
With a challenge of feeding the great and powerful number 5, I thought I had this in the bag. Dougie, 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 Dougie. Yes, sir, yeah. But even though these bison beauties were swarming the buggy and accepting the bait, number 5 was in the woods, keeping other suitors from his ladies. We're looking for number 5. There he is. But eventually... Yes, sir. Come on, 5. Make me look good. Yeah, number 5. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Challenge. Oh, he wants more. Oh, yeah. Bring it. And thanks to number 5, I scored another win on this coastal Georgia excursion. Oh, yeah. So part 1 of this excursion challenge here at the Georgia Buffalo Ranch is complete. Now it's time to stay clean on the mud buggy. Keep the mouth closed. So we all got muddy, but the way I see it, Wes here got muddier than me, right, Wes? Oh, Wes, you look ridiculous. Walmart. He's going to Walmart. I kept my mouth closed.
That's very important.
Highly recommended to enjoy it. Georgia Buffalo Ranch, Amanda. Yes,
awesome.
We did it. We did it. She's a heck of a driver.
Thank you.
Number 5, fed well and muddy as heck. It's time to move on to our home base. Welcome to the King and Prince Beach and Golf Resort. I guess we'll go back to 1935.
1935, yes.
And how did this all begin?
It's a beachfront resort.
Yeah.
You know, when they first built the island, you know, this was the place to come.
This is a great home base for our excursion. You know, we're right down the road from the Georgia Buffalo Ranch. We're leaving from St. Simons to go visit Gray's Reef. Okefenokee is inland an hour and a half. You're in a completely different world.
It's just an amazing area. You get the ocean. St. Simons is this quaint, you know, charming little town. You get great restaurants, great shops, you know, great activities.
In recent years, you've stepped it up with your restaurant, and that is our Excursion reward.
Echo, yeah.
Wait, we heard it twice, didn't we?
It's a coastal and southern. Really, we took the whole lobby experience and really upgraded the whole indoor-outdoor dining.
Bud let me know that the highly rated Echo chefs had their legendary Georgia white shrimp and grits on our Excursion reward menu, along with a delectable cut of grouper that you can get cooked one of many different ways. And of course, fitting with our earlier segment in this episode, the Turf Special, a lean bison ribeye. Having knowledge that this great reward dinner at the beachside restaurant Echo was in store, I knew that I had to step it up in the next Excursion Challenge. Gators in the swamp, feeding bison in the ranch. It's now time to head out to the deep blue sea to discover a national ocean sanctuary that is not only a national treasure, but also a fisherman's dream. Gray's Reef is very special, and it's also something a lot of people, even in Georgia, don't know about.
It's far offshore. It's not something you see from the beach.
But a sanctuary like Gray's Reef is important to the ecosystem, this whole region.
So Gray's Reef is a large live bottom habitat. It has rocky ledges that have organisms such as octopus and turtles and multiple species of fish and corals and sponges. And it's very dense in this small little 20 square mile area.
When it comes to Gray's Reef and some of the recreation, I recently learned you can fish there.
You can fish there.
Okay, tell me about that.
Yeah. If you think of Gray's Reef as a rectangle, the bottom 1/3 of Gray's Reef is a research area. And so they do not allow fishing or diving there. But the upper 2/3, you are allowed fishing, you are allowed diving. You know, that is part of the National Marine Sanctuaries Act, is to provide shared use when applicable.
Time to meet a man who knows the habits of the reef inhabitants and can also deliver a grand old time in the deep blue sea. Meet Captain Brooks Good.
We got a tremendous variety of species, both on the marine side and the wildlife side. Not only letting them have a good time, but teaching them a little bit about it, because once you understand it, you realize the value of it. We do private charters, we do private boat tours, we do cruises on our big pontoon boats where we can put large groups up to 24 people, take them on tours with food on the boat and let them experience this as a group together, which is really neat.
Well, Georgia has a gem several miles off the coast. Gray's Reef National Marine Sanctuary.
Right.
This is special, and I just learned you can fish there.
Right, so Gray's Reef National Marine Sanctuary is a 22 square mile natural live bottom reef, tremendous diversity of fish. So what we're gonna do today, we're gonna leave Hampton Marina, we're gonna run back up the river and cast net some live pogies, then we're gonna shoot offshore. We're about 28 miles from where we're standing right now to Gray's Reef. And hopefully today we'll see a variety of species. Likely species we'll see will be sea bass, king mackerel, barracuda, Spanish mackerel. You just never know.
And this show is about challenges.
Right.
Now, do you have a challenge in mind when it comes to the fish I catch?
Absolutely. What I'd like to see you do, I'm going to send you down with a double hook rig. I'd like to see you catch 2 different species at one time, really.
Oh, okay,
So
all right.
See how you can do there. My goal always fishing is to try to get more going on than you can really keep up with. So
Okay.
if I see that happening today, I'm going to feel like I've done a good job. So
Nice.
we're loaded to do a lot of different things.
So off to Doughboy Sound right beside historic Sapelo Island for an added excursion bonus challenge. Catch our own bait. And here's an obvious clue, fish where the birds are. Oh, yes, sir. All right.
Yeah, man.
Man, you caught a lot of fish.
Yeah, we did okay.
You come out with Brooks, you catch 100 fish within 10 seconds. Oh, no.
Oh, you got it?
Oh, yeah! Woo! Oh, yeah, that's heavy. Huge success on the cast net in Doughboy Sound, even with a kidney-shaped landing on my toss. Nevertheless, in 2 attempts, off to a good start, folks. As heavy as a lot of fish. Brooke and I had all the ammunition we needed to take on the Great Gray Reef. So he fired up the engine, and we headed out to sea to find this underwater treasure. After about a 1-hour ride over the swells of the Atlantic, we made it to the reef. pretty much the same as the rest of the ocean from a bird's eye view, but the fish eye view is, in a word, spectacular. Brooks and I immediately tapped into our menhaden bait to go for the big game. And within a few minutes, we were hooked. Fish on!
So that first fish hit, we saw him blow up on the bait. Kind of textbook. He hit and took off with the rod and the rod holder on the T-top. You did a great job. Made pretty short work of that fish. And that was probably a 12, 15 pound fish, so it was a nice fish.
Barracuda time.
Awesome!
Let go. See ya!
Pretty cool start, huh? Yeah. This is a neat place.
So what was already an amazing fishtail became even more amazing within minutes. Fish number 2 was a beast. He's like, no one told me Captain Brooks was coming. I would have stayed at the bottom.
The fight lasted for about 30 minutes.
It was 30 plus, I think. That was crazy. I was sore. Camera guys were sore. That was just a fight. And you said it was foul hook, so it wasn't coming in aerodynamically.
You were fighting that fish sideways in what was a really hard running current out there. So that added to it. That would have been a great fight had you hooked him in the mouth, but foul hooked, it was an epic battle.
There you go, Wes.
Get you a good look at some teeth. Wouldn't want to be that dude's dentist.
That was a fight, folks.
Let him fly. Woo! All right, with that fancy glove, I need a high five. Woo! There you go. Nice work.
Thank you, Captain
Nice
Good.
work.
Oh,
that was awesome.
I'm a little tired. I don't care if I get the 2 species on one hook now. That was success in my book.
I think that's what we're about to try right now. So I'm gonna let you have a drink, kind of get refreshed.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna hit that and see what happens.
You know who else is the champ? Wes for rolling 30 minutes on that. Way to go, Wes. Yeah.
His hand went completely numb. The guy never lost composure.
And he's still recording.
He's still going.
Woo!
This is the man. I have met the man.
So after the topwater monsters were unearthed, it was time to fish deep in the reef, dropping 50 feet down to where any of many coral-loving species may be biting. And again, within seconds, we were hooked. And we got
Mr. Sea Bass.
We got a sea bass.
Yeah, man. Great looking little fish.
It is pretty.
No doubt.
Brooks and I then got to use a wonderful device known as a sequelizer that was designed to help these bass and other deep-dwelling fish like snapper have a more pleasant descent back to the ocean floor.
So we'll drop this over the side with the fish on it, and
he's gone.
He's gone, just like that. So that allowed that fish to decompress as he went down, and he should be good to go and be keeper size next time we come back.
Hey,
and
new species!
We got that is the spot-tailed pinfish. Exactly.
Yeah, this fish, I'll just stop any jokes right now. All right, here we go.
We got the twofer. Two for sea bass, man. Those are nice ones, too.
Woo!
Yeah. Smile for the camera, buddy. We got a little, it's a lesser amberjack.
Lesser amberjack.
Yeah, add that one to the list.
That's 4 species here at Gray's Reef. 5 if you count the menhaden.
I saw two sea bass.
Oh, that bottom one looked a little bright. Oh.
He did. I thought we might have a sand perch on there to round us out. I thought we might have him.
So the challenge was catch 2 different species on one cast. We would catch a couple fish on one cast, but it wasn't 2 different species. We'll have to figure this out. Brooks Good.
My pleasure.
Coastal Outdoor
Great
Adventures,
trip.
man. It's time to head back to our home base, King and Prince Beach and Golf Resort, for my potential reward. However, the crew had one more challenge in mind. When you look out on the water from the resort's pool deck, you see Lee of Barry's Beach Service setting up chairs and fun-filled activities for all the guests to enjoy. Barry's Beach Service, that's the King and Prince right there.
Yeah, we've been affiliated with the King and Prince since 1977. We offer umbrella and chair rentals, paddleboard rentals, Hobie Cat rentals, sailboats, lessons and rides. And then we also offer our bicycles, which are the fun cycles on the beach.
And you have a little challenge in mind when it comes to the fun cycles.
We are. We're going to do a time trial and see which one of you guys wins.
All right, all 3 of the guys. So
yes,
Craig
you got it.
and Wes are going to have to do this.
Yes.
So here we go, 2 rounds on the fun cycle. Me going first. After one round of making twisted turns and just getting a handle of the bike, I was in dead last, mainly because of this. I'm in trouble. No! Oh.
30 seconds. 30.26.
See how fast I was going? No. Woo! But in round 2, I found my groove and edged out Wes. Feeling good.
25.
Woo!
25.64.
Yes!
Oh well, he's got to win sometime.
Leaving Craig alone to conquer my time.
All right, Craig. It's on this time. Take it, David.
All right. What's the time?
24.51.
No! Nightfall! Oh! 24.51, no! So it was time for the much anticipated Echo reward Bud spoke of earlier, including Echo's famous shrimp and grits. And even though I didn't win every Coastal Georgia Excursion challenge, I had a hungry crew at the table and a crafty trick up my sleeve. All right, guys, I know this excursion has had its share of ups and downs. For instance, silly things like I didn't catch 2 species on one line, but I followed it up with a 25-pound barracuda. I mean, that's pretty cool. But overall, we're here at Echo at the King and Prince, where everyone should be treated like royalty. And I got y'all a brownie cheesecake coming. Ooh,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, so, you know, yes, sir. Excursion complete, thanks to a cheesy, irresistible St. Simon's Island special. See you next time.